just moving things around. Don't mind me. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Just JP. I hope that you're having a wonderful one. Thank you so much for being here. Hope that you're having a great day. I don't know where or how it is right now, wherever you are, but right now it's about 5:40 p.m. on a Monday afternoon. It's getting dark. It's a little nippy outside. Hope that you're staying warm. Today we're going to listen to a little bit of Peter Hammill. We're going to listen to his track, The Lie, Bernini St. Teresa. This is off of the album The Silent Corner, An Empty Stage, which was released in, 1974. This is one of the tracks from this album that has been requested ad nauseum for such a long time, and I've never gotten around to it, except for today when we're getting around to it. So, I see that the subtitle of this track is called Bernini St. Teresa. So, just before starting this video, I did look that up because I didn't know what that was, but it sounded like something, like a piece of art or something like that. And it is. It seems that that is the Ecstasy of St. Teresa, which is a sculpture that was sculpted by Gian Lorenzo Bernini. And I'll put a picture up as well, but it says, just reading off of Wikipedia, the sculpture depicts Teresa of Avila experiencing religious ecstasy with an angel holding a spear standing above her. So I don't know exactly any of the history behind it, but I figured it might be important to at least know what perhaps the song is based on before we get into it. So let's go ahead and get into it right now. This is The Lie by Peter Hammill.
Erection in church. Sacristy cloth, moth-eaten shroud. Secret silence, sacred secrets accumulate, dust aggravate the incautious laughter after confession, benediction, fictional fear, hidden faces, grace is a name, like chastity, like Lucifer, like
Nothing I'm going to say right now is going to capture what I'm feeling. Nothing. So I'm not going to exactly try. You know how you like you may go to some religious service of some sort, some type of ceremony, and you go there that day maybe not expecting much, but you come out a changed person. Like your actual perspective on certain things have changed. Your outlook has changed. You feel different. Peter Hammill took us to church. He took us to some cathedral. We walked in. Service seemed lovely, but it seemed like the usual. Pastor Hammill got up on stage and he began his sermon. You've been given a sermon. We've all just been given a sermon in these last 5 minutes. And it was the most powerful sermon you've heard. The words, the delivery, you come out, as the kids say, shook. All right? I have a little tear right here. I don't want to say on a first listen, when I've heard a decent amount from Vandergraaf Generator and Peter Hammill, I don't want to say that this is one of the best songs that I've heard from him, but I do want to say that this is one of the best songs I've heard from him. Top 4? His performance is out of this world. To me, in the most literal sense, because it can't be defined by this world. It can't be defined by what we feel, what we see, and what we hear. He is beyond that. He is on a metaphysical plane that is beyond. And yet, sometimes he'll take a part of us with him to share what he's seen, to share what he's heard. When I was reading about the ecstasy of Saint Teresa, which we're going to talk about in relation to the lyrics, one of the things that it said is this Teresa is experiencing religious ecstasy. Okay, I've never heard of that. I could kind of guess what it is, but I've never heard of it, right? It says, religious ecstasy is a type of altered state of consciousness characterized by greatly reduced external awareness and expanded interior mental and spiritual awareness, frequently accompanied by visions and emotional euphoria. That definition of that religious ecstasy captures and defines what at least I felt listening to this track by Peter Hammill. Not only through his singing, but through the piano playing, through the rises and falls of the organ. I think that there's some bass in there as well. I'm not 100% sure, so I could be wrong, but I think so, just a little bit. This is easily, without a doubt, one of the most powerful pieces of music I've heard. I may be preemptively saying in my life, but I would at least like to say that I've heard in my adult life. Let's just at least put it there. I genuinely don't know what else to say about it. I'm shocked. My hairs are on end. You know how you listen to certain pieces of music? You hear a certain rhythm, a certain beat, a certain melody, and you get goosebumps. This, kind of the whole song, the whole thing did that. This was a sermon for the ages. This, man. And like I said, it's really piano, organ, and voice that are the heart of this. And it's only Hammill and Banton here. What a powerful combination. This is like their version of Stripped. down music, basically. And just letting the emotion rise, just letting the waves of spiritual anguish and fervorance and ecstasy wash over you. Hopefully wash over you guys as well. I would like to, in this video, while we're talking about Peter Hammill, I would like to say that I think that Peter Hammill is, if we're just going to go by progressive rock, I do think that he is one of the top 3 singers. I'm not prepared, I'm not making like a definitive list right now. I'm just saying that easily he's one of the top 3. One of the most expressive, one of the most powerful, one of the most soul-hitting. Not hard-hitting, but soul-hitting. He's always piercing through you, like this spear piercing through Teresa's heart, which we'll talk about in a second. But let's go over the lyrics here really quick. Genuflection, erection in church, which I think is interesting. Erection in church, which sounds dirty, but talking about this religious ecstasy, this feeling that Teresa's feeling, it is like not as sexual, but a spiritual high that's so high that perhaps it could be interpreted as such. Sacristy cloth, moth-eaten shrouds, secret silence, sacred secrets, accumulate dust, aggravate the eye. So these secrets, these sacred secrets, perhaps old text, old books, are gathering dust. In cautious laughter after confession, benediction, fictional fear. Hidden faces, grace is a name, like chastity, like Lucifer, like mine. I like that. He reduces, in a sense, grace to could be anything. Anything could be grace. You took me through the window stain, drowned in image, incense, choir, refrain, and slow ecstasy. I'd embrace you if I only knew your name. The silent corner haunts my shadow prayers, ice-cold statue, rapture divine, unconscious eyes, the open mouth, the wound of love, the lie. So I do think it's interesting that he's saying it's a lie, right? Like he's feeling something perhaps, and he's not quite sure what he's experiencing. He feels some sort of fervor, but he does say grace is a name, like chastity, like Lucifer, like mine. Could be God, could be the devil, could be me, could be you. It could be anything. You took me, gave me reasons for saints and missals, vigils, all the more holy martyrs. I'd embrace you and walk through the one-way door. I do think it's interesting he says walk through the one-way door. Like preparing for a certain kind of dedication, right? Like once you go through that door, you can't come back out. I'd embrace you, but it would just be another lie. Or I'm sorry, it would be just another lie. Now, is he acknowledging, and this is all just, hearsay, and me just reading and interpreting my thoughts. Is he acknowledging a higher power, and he feels the presence of a higher power? But he says, I feel you there, but I don't even know your name. I'm not prepared to get into this kind of relationship with you. And then he says at the end, I'd embrace you, but it would just be another lie. Like he would be lying to himself, perhaps to try and embrace this higher power. Or perhaps he's denying divinity and godhood. I'm honestly not sure. But I do think that this is important. Switching back to the actual sculpture, because I do think the story is important here. Like I said, the sculpture is based on a religious ecstasy from Teresa of Avila. And just reading off of Wikipedia, this is Teresa of Avila. This is her experience that she is recounting, her religious ecstasy. She says, I saw in his hand, describing the angel, a long spear of gold, and at the iron's point there seemed to be a little fire. He appeared to be thrusting it at my heart many times to pierce my very entrails. When he drew it out, he seemed to draw them out also and leave me all on fire with a great love of God. So it's like a violent act, and yet there's a spirituality behind it, which I think is really interesting on a, not contradictory, but what's the word, like a contrasting kind of level. The pain was so great that it made me moan, and yet so surpassing was the sweetness of this excessive pain that I could not wish to be rid of it. The soul is satisfied now with nothing less than God. The pain is not bodily, but spiritual. Though the body has its share in it. It is a caressing of love so sweet which now takes place between the soul and God that I pray God of his goodness to make him experience it, who may think I am lying. The lie. How genius is that? I honestly think that Hammill is like almost like a modern day philosopher for lack of a better word. And I think that perhaps is still doing him a disservice. But I think that he is a modern day philosopher, not only with his music, but with his words, which I always emphasize. Like, to me, his words are so important in really getting the full aspect of his music, Van de Graaff Generator's music, of all of it. And a lot of times when it comes to music, obviously music is probably the first thing that you really pay attention to when you're listening to a song or an album. But to get that deeper meaning, to get that deeper understanding, if I can quote Kate Bush, you have to look at the words. You have to look at the meaning behind it, which is in part, in part, why I enjoy doing this channel so much, because I can look at songs and really look into them. Besides just an initial reaction where you're not really, looking at the song or anything. You're just like, okay, that sounds good. Or, okay, I don't really like that. Look deeper. And maybe you'll get so many rewards out of it. You might discover things that you would have never heard of, like myself doing this channel and Peter Hammill at this exact point. Anyways, I would love to know what you guys thought of this one. I don't even have to play any of it again. I want to save this kind of experience for a special time. This is one of those tracks that I'll listen to it again, but I don't want to diminish its power by just repeated listen. And honestly, I don't think that power will be diminished, judging by what we just heard. Let me know what you guys thought of this one. I would love to know your thoughts. Leave them in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter. You can support the channel if you enjoy any of the videos. If you enjoyed this video, any of the videos in the past or in the future, and you just want to help out, you can absolutely support the channel on Patreon. You don't have to. I'm happy you just showed up. I'm happy you're just here with me listening to such great music, because it's better to listen to music with friends and people like you. So thank you for being here. Come back tomorrow, and I'll see you then, guys. Woo. Oh, man. My heart's on fire. I got that Holy Spirit, that holy Hammill.